Good morning, everyone. AM Path Chat covering the FX market. It is March 14th, 2017. This is Bob Iacchino along with Mike Arnold. Just a couple of quick things, and then I want to turn it over to Mike. The UK Parliament passed the legislation allowing Prime Minister Theresa May to invoke Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty. It was actually sent down to the lower house earlier yesterday with the provision to protect EU citizens in it. And the lower house took that out, sent it back up, and the upper house of Parliament passed it. So it is passed. We are one step closer to full Brexit activity commencing. Two-day Federal Reserve meeting begins today. One rate hike pretty much priced in. You'll hear ad nauseum that people are going to be waiting for the statement, but do not expect, in my opinion, or our opinion, I should say, do not expect the Fed to say anything. Even this particular meeting, which you can say they were pretty clean about communicating that was going to happen, this particular rate hike, they certainly didn't telegraph it until they were sure. And if we're data dependent and if we're dependent on fiscal policy, which is now the driver, in our opinion, you're not going to see anything telling in terms of how many rate hikes. She's going to talk out of both sides of her mouth. She's really good at that, but this particular Fed's also really good at communicating when a move might be coming. I mean, this thing was absolutely almost announced prior to the probability of a rate hike, going from 17% all the way up to 90 some odd percent where it is today. Huge snowstorm, so we expect markets to slow down a lot earlier than usual. New York is probably going to be somewhat vacant from a trading perspective. So huge late winter, well, it's not spring yet, but late winter snowstorm will probably slow the markets down when you combine it with the beginning of the two-day Fed meeting. Let me turn it over to Mike to show you what he's seeing on the charts.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Bob. So we're seeing the euro pull back. It's retracing some of its move from last week. It continues lower. Watch for key support around the 106.21, followed by 105.96 levels. And if we really drop, then we're going down to about 105.84. If we rally back up, watch for resistance right around 106.43 to 48. And then a retest of today's high is this whole cluster between 106.61 and 106.70. Lots of resistance up there. Pound rallied up. We talked about some key GAN areas in here. It went through all the levels and then dropped back down. It's also in our declining rotation zone. Now it's dropped below this little shelf, targeting last week's lows. If we do continue lower, watching for 120.92, followed by 120.77, followed by 120.51. If we rally back up, watch for pretty substantial resistance around 121.67. Then we can watch for some resistance right around these levels around 122.12. That's what I will be watching for. Just going to clean up this real quick. Those levels are done. They were shorter term levels. Yen. This trend line is an official redraw. We rallied up to the next GAN level higher, nearly to the pip, the 115.51. Now we've pulled back. We have a rising rotation zone. We pulled back to our significant level, 114.66. If we do get below that rotation zone and the 8 EMA, watch for a drop to 114.24. Then the next level is 114.01. If we rally back up, we have resistance from this overhead trend line right on 115.34. Then watch for a retest of 115.51, followed by 116.01 to the upside. Many of these things might be quieter until, especially with the yen, the Swissy, maybe the Aussie, might be quieter until the Fed announcement. We have Swissy here. Came back down, tested this trend line and the 50 EMA. It's now forming an inside bar so far, rallied up to again level 101.02. If we move back lower, watch for a retest of yesterday's low, which is 100.60, and then we have the GAN cluster below that at 100.46 area and a rising trend line. Resistance again overhead 101.02. And then if we get above there, watch for a retest of yesterday's high, 101.16. And then we have a clear path move right up to the 101.45 level. Aussie rallied up, straight off the upper end of the rotation zone and significant level right around the 75.93, came back down. Now we sold off today back to a prior defining point around the 75.42 level. If we rally, again, watch for 75.67 and then back to 75.92. Selling off, watch for support on 75.42 and then back down around 75.22. CAD came to the upper end of the rotation zone and again levels turned higher. So we have pretty good support right around 134.39 area and the rising 8. If we continue to rally, watch for resistance around the 135.19. You might see some resistance right around yesterday's opening price, 135.06. If we continue even higher than that, 135.40. Again, if we break through the 134.10 level, watch for a retest of the trend line, which I will also redraw, but where it used to be right around the 134.09. And this is an official redraw now. Mexican pesos, volatility's dropped drastically, as you can see. We have support right around the 1951.857 level, resistance right around the 1967.262 level if we get through there. Next level higher we're watching for is 19.83569. Further support is also down at 19.43850. So that's really all. We have to get out of this range again. We have the declining rotation zone, which will provide overhead resistance until we can get through that. That's all we have for you. Back to you, Bob.
Thanks, Mike. If you enjoyed what we're doing, feel free to like these videos and leave us a comment or send us an email, support@pathtradingpartners.com. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.